Hey class, we're going to be talking about developing a proposal for a group and developing a group in general. Just as a reminder, for this week, we have no discussion board for week 4 because you're working on your videos. It will take me a little bit of time to get through the videos, to be honest, just because they are long. Oops. So I don't want you to be alarmed. I'm just giving you a heads up because that is the facts. It will take me a little bit of time. So we're just going to dive right in. So when you're trying to develop a group, you want to make sure, like, what's the point, right? Like, whatever material we feel like we want to enlighten people on, or we're trying to help people with, or whatever the subject matter may be, we want to make sure we have a point, right? And that it serves a purpose and that there are objectives and goals, and we're aiming for certain results. And so how are we going to do that? So we want to make sure we have a good plan and a good setup before we just dive into group, right? And so here's some areas that you're going to look at. You're going to be like the rationale, the objectives, the practical considerations, the procedures, and the evaluation. The evaluation is to help you be like, how did this work? Now, with some groups, you are going to need to screen members. Should the person be in the group? What methods of screening will you use? So like what tools are you going to use to better understand the group? We need to ask these questions. How can you determine who may or who may not benefit from your group? How might you deal with a candidate who's not appropriate for your groups? You might need proper referrals. These are all questions that you're going to ask people who are going to come, who are interested, deciding if their interests make sense for your needs or what you're looking for, or the content, if they're ready, where are they at in their own mental health journey? Maybe this isn't a good fit if they're in a severe situation. Maybe this wouldn't be a good idea. What are their supports? Do they have proper support? If this is going to bring up maybe some trauma or things of that nature, you don't want someone to maybe be very alone and not have people to help them or support them, or things like that. So that's why we screen. We want to make sure we are doing everything legally and ethically appropriate for group members, and making sure we're trying to build a cohesive group, and we want to make sure the right kind of people are in the right group. So not everybody's meant for certain circumstances or situations or topics, and so we just want to make sure we are doing the correct thing. Okay, so how many people do you want in the group? How often are we meeting? All logistical things. How long is it going to be? Like the length of time. The place, where is it going to be held? Is it going to be anybody can pop in or out? Or is it going to be, it's once you start, that's it, it's closed. This is how it is the next 8 weeks and we're done. Then we start over. All those things you have to figure out, obviously, before you get started. And so, those are things to consider if you have a group co-leader, talking to your co-leader about that, what you guys both think should happen. If you are a group that is like in an inpatient type facility, what's the structure that they require? In some of the inpatient settings, it has to be kind of open because people come and go. Now, there might be different stages of treatment different groups are for, but all in all, if you're in that kind of setting, you obviously have to follow what their guidelines are and expectations. Advantages of group, right? Supports of new behavior, has other people going through the same things. It's a way for discovery that maybe feels safer. It's nice hearing it maybe sometimes from other people other than your peers, like at home. I think they're able to see that they're not alone, which I think is a really big part of group. Although everyone's situations are very situational to their experiences and what they're going through, there might be the content that's all similar. And so I think having that camaraderie really helps people to grow and to learn. Not everybody's meant for a group. And so that's why we have sometimes the screening processes. It's not about everyone becoming best friends. It's not putting you in your place. You don't want to lose your sense of identity. Groups are artificial and unreal. That's not true either. These are misconceptions. it's not necessarily a good fit for everyone. It's not always a good season for someone to be in a group. It's not always the right timing in your personal journey for group. A person needs to be ready. It's not always a great time for somebody for therapy, right? Sometimes forced therapy isn't the best therapy. And so it's really not everything is always the best. And so it's really trying to navigate like what is optimal for people. And it isn't to replace anybody or anything. It isn't to be so tight knit that nobody else can come in, and not every group is going to go well. I mean, that's just the reality of anything. Not every therapeutic experience is going to go well for various reasons, and so these are all misconceptions, maybe lies people believe about groups. So just understanding that. The uses of a pre-group meeting. So some groups may do this, trying to set expectations, goals, procedures, letting people know what their expectations are. When you know your expectations, it's easier to succeed, right? Because you know what the boundaries and limits are. Trying to make sure, it's a way to make sure everyone's on the same page so we have optimal cohesion. And you're getting them prepared, right? Like if I do all the when you think of like training for, even a sports team, you have the preseason stuff, and the preseason stuff's to get you ready for when you're in season, right? So even if you're playing football as a team, maybe before football starts, you're running sprints and you're doing drills, and sometimes you don't even touch a ball for a little bit. You're just doing conditioning to get you ready for what's going to happen when the season starts. And then this is kind of that pregame, right? It's like getting you ready for what's going to happen when the season starts, okay? And if we're in a really good condition, then we're going to do great once season starts. If we're not in good condition, then it can be really painful once season starts, right? And so this is why we want to maybe have these kinds of meetings to kind of get people ready for what's going to happen when it's going to start, okay? Making sure, we're kind of educating people on the group process, because people don't know what they don't know. Have them ask questions, allow them the opportunity to make sure they can understand optimally what's happening. It's just a way, again, knowledge is power. The more people are educated, the more they understand, the better that they can do. That's with most things in life, right? The more we understand, the better we can achieve our goals, be excited about what's to come, know what's expected, and then, continue to thrive in that environment. So, again, include in your proposal for groups the procedures you intend to use to evaluate both the individual member outcomes and the outcomes of the group as a unit. So trying to navigate what's the best way, whether that's a survey, some sort of scientific method you're choosing to use to evaluate, maybe measuring goals and outcomes like success, things that didn't work well. And this isn't to be critical of you as the leader. This is just to be like, okay, we want this to be as best as we can make it to be. And so if it's not working or something we're doing isn't getting us the outcome we want, let's correct that and make it work well. It's not to be personal against you. It's about making the group be successful. Okay. So you're the tour guide. Like, if the tour isn't great, people aren't going to want to go on the trip. Right? So we want to make sure the tour is good. You're just guiding them through the tour. Okay. So remember that it's not about you. It's about the success of what you're trying to do. Okay. And so that's important. We talked about that a lot in our discussion boards for week 2. We talked about transference and personalization and things of that nature. And you don't want to make things take it overly personal when it's like, you know what, this is just a way to model hard conversations. Yeah, sure, it's hard sometimes to receive criticism, but try not to make it about you, and then kind of going from there is really important. Okay. If we're having co-leader issues, on forming a group, you guys should be sharing equal responsibility. Meet in advance to clarify the purpose so you're on the same page. No, it's no different than what we're trying to set up the group members for. if you two as leaders can be on the same page and have mutual expectations, then you're not going to be as frustrated with one another and not run into as many issues. And being open enough in communication that if you are feeling an issue or are noticing a problem, that you are able to deal with the problem and be able to have a hard conversation and work through it. Okay? This is really important. You can't be two people who are set up against each other. This isn't a competition. It's not about who's better at the job. It's about getting a job done. And so, how can we utilize more than one person to be more effective for a group and not feel so alone and achieve a goal of these people learning something or be able to deal with something or maybe achieve some sort of coping skills that they didn't have before, and us not get in the way of that process, but help guide them through that process and it be both a team effort and them get to be exposed to two healthy leaders. And so if the leaders aren't healthy with how they communicate and how they handle conflict, then it's going to affect the group. And people who tend to be a little bit more manipulative will know right how to get in the middle of that, right? And so we want to be healthy parents and lead the group in a healthy manner. Okay. I hope this information is helpful for you as you're looking. I mean, you will have just already probably led a group in your videos, so this might come a little late from what you experienced, but as you look forward to your future and what your career as a therapist may hold, hopefully this will be helpful for you as you look to that journey. I hope you all have a great week.